Hello and welcome. This is Trevor7, and my short answer to this question is not very darn well. At least not the meter I have. Of course, there are many different models of EMF meters, and perhaps some would work better than others, but I personally think telekinetic energy is a little more complex than just certain ranges of magnetism and electricity. That's the meter I have. It's kind of a mid to lower range model, but I think we're dealing with sort of like the visible light spectrum, you know, how we only see a small sliver of everything that's out there. And that's the same way with this machine. I think it's only picking up the electricity or a little bit of magnetism. It's kind of like asking somebody to use a metal detector to determine if a car is made of metal. They're going to say, well, yeah, it is, but it's also made of wood and plastic and rubber and all kinds of stuff. So probably not the best tool in the world to use for this sort of thing. I think probably biofeedback machines or Kirlian photography or something is probably a little better path, but I happen to have one of these and I thought I'd give it a shot. But you know what? The whole time I was doing it, it kind of felt sort of like sacrilegious or belittling the whole craft. So I didn't really enjoy this, but I'm going to share. And what's the takeaway from this whole video? Well, if you're like me, you'll be as confused as an Amish electrician. Anyway, I'm going to use a little video clip, the link to which you'll find in the description, to introduce you to our meter.
These are affordable meters that will help you to measure electromagnetic fields in your home. And this meter here is the Cornett ED78S Electrosmog meter, which actually has two functions, and it measures two different EMFs. The first is extra low frequency magnetic fields at 60 cycles, which is the magnetic field of house wiring. And the other EMF that it measures is radio frequencies. There are 4 types of EMFs that the building biology profession recognizes, and you need different meters, or again a combined meter at different settings, to measure each one of these. So on the Cornett ED78S Electrosmog meter, the way you operate it is you press the power button, that turns it on, and the first type of EMF that it starts to read by default is radio frequencies. If you want to read magnetic fields, you press the top black button, and then it will start to read magnetic fields at one setting. And if you press it a second time, then it's a more refined setting. So you can toggle through these 3 types of EMFs by pressing this top button. Now, you'll notice that you have a number that appears on the screen, and to the right of that, you have a histogram. And this is a running indicator on a bar graph here of what the reading is and has been historically over the past minute or two. And you'll notice that in terms of how high the bars go. So that's one way that you can tell how the readings change as you measure them. Also, if you take it off hold and let it run, you'll notice that you have a max reading on the bottom, and that actually is the last highest number that this meter reads. This meter measures radio frequencies in milliwatts per meter squared, which is small m, big W, milliwatts per meter squared. Don't forget that you also have an LED indicator on the right here, which goes from 2 green levels to 3 yellows and up to the red. So the safe level for magnetic fields with this meter would be 0.1 UT, or 0.1 microtesla, which happens to equal 1 milligauss. And you can always see that conversion between what you read with the big numbers and the milligauss in parentheses beneath it.
Okay, I hope that was helpful. Basically, if the light flashes, it's picking something up. Now, at first, of course, I always had the meter facing towards me, and I never was picking up anything until I started using that 3rd setting, the real sensitive magnetic setting. And it would pick up most often whenever I was stopping or starting or changing directions. And now with the meter facing away, you know, I don't have any idea what's going on. So I'm basically just trying to do a lot of stopping and starting and changing directions to make the meter go off. But as you see, sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. Very confusing. But that was kind of my goal, was to just try to be as disruptive as possible to make the meter register, you know, just so I could pick something up and see something. See, there's a little flicker, but it was just mid-turn, so I don't know what's going on. And similar results, just doing some basic pushes. Here's a hand push. Now this is kind of odd. Watch this. There's the push. There's the register. You see that? It makes no sense at all. There's the fall. Oh, and there's a little. See, that's what makes me think it's kind of residual, or maybe it's propagating beyond the target or what have you. Like, you know, when a diver dives, he shouldn't make a splash, but sometimes it does. I think that's what it is. It's like little fringes of the energy. And similar things on the poles. Here's a hand pole. I didn't see it register there. I don't know if it did or not. And there's another pole with no register. Here's a no hands pole. And we got a register, but it didn't move. I mean, what the heck is going on? So anyway, for what it's worth, oh, there, it finally falls and it didn't register at all. You know, kind of makes you think, what the heck? All right, and here's a little heavier target. And I did notice when I used a heavier metal target that I got a little bigger surges on the meter. Nothing too big. I hope you can see that when you zoom in. I can't see it on this video editing software, but I'll try to zoom in on it. Somebody wants to take numbers or whatever, I don't know. And here's one using hands, which I always thought, well, there it did register pretty good. I always figured using hands would put out more electricity, which it does seem to. And then again, you can do a no hands pull and register absolutely nothing. So again, I am clueless. But nevertheless, I went ahead and tried, several different objects. And this is interesting. I kind of flex my spine, those who have listened to my videos and stuff. And did you see that register when I stretch my spine? Look at that. That was a pretty big surge. And I wasn't even, trying to put out any kinetic energy. I was trying to realign my energy pathways internally. So I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah, and then we got a whole bunch of flashing going on, but nothing moving. And then after the move, keep watching the meter after the move. Watch. Flicker. And then here's 2 pushes in a row that don't register at all. I mean, what does that mean? I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. And I always assumed, the metal targets would probably make the most electrical activity, but plastic is not one of my favorite targets, and it seems to really register, which, again, I think that might not be a good sign. That might be misused energy, but seems to do it, no hands or hands. That's kind of interesting. You can see kind of when your pull is. If it was like that every time, I'd think, oh, that's a great device. But it's not. See in there, it seemed to register before I actually initiated my move. See, there it is, and then there's my push. Anywho, I've got 2 hours and 41 minutes of that nonsense. So I just started messing directly with the meter to see what we could do. And inside a container, it did seem to be a little bit weaker. And again, I can't see what's happening, so it's kind of bad on my end. But I tried various things. This is sort of an extraction move when I'm trying to cleanse or clear something. And it gets a little bit, not much. And this is kind of just a basic pull, which didn't get a whole lot either. And then I tried using, using ambient energy and pulling the energy in the room, and it got a little bit. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. That was the best one. It did. And this is a no hands pull, which registered about the same as using hands, so I don't know what that means. This is sort of not really a chi ball, but mostly energy type push, which registered a little tiny dab. And again, I have several clips there where it didn't. And here's a no hands push, similar results. And I think this is the move. This is the move. I think the lights flick. Did you see the lights in the room flickered too? Watch. It does it again. That was probably the most powerful push on it. Right there. I don't know. This is in HD. Poor lighting. You might be able to zoom in and see what the numbers are. I don't even really care. Like I said, the takeaway from this whole experiment is I know nothing. Now maybe you guys can learn more, and I know people are going to have all kinds of advice. Oh, you need to get this machine and that machine and whatnot. I bought this thing to convince my electrical company that smart meters are not to be attached to the side of my house, which, by the way, I got them moved after 26 days of trying. So, I'm just sharing this because I promised you I would. But I really don't know that we learned anything here. And I may mess with this again some more, but like I said, it wasn't really my favorite thing to do for telekinesis. I don't really think it's necessary to poke and prod. I just want to improve what I do more so than understand how it works, unless it helps people learn. But if you learn something from this that helped you learn telekinesis, you're doing something. Because I sure didn't. I'm crazier than a fly in an outhouse trying to figure out why and when this thing works. And again, you guys are seeing the best of the best. I've got tons of footage where things are moving and nothing's registering. So this looks a little more active than what it is. This is over 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks of experimenting. All right. I appreciate you guys watching. It's Trevor 7. Good day. God bless. And namaste.